Minjungbal. Welcome to the Bungalung country of northern New South Wales. We're here north of Minjungbal, the Brunswick River, in the pocket, the homelands of the Minjungbal people, who we honor and respect in offering our conference presentation to you here now. The traditional question in this country of Australia, once one has been welcomed to country, is who are you and what are you doing here? Well, as I said, my name is James Harvey, and I'm a Doctor of Musical Arts candidate at Griffith University, Queensland Conservatorium. And currently, I am restricted to being at home with the COVID lockdown that is in New South Wales. And so I'm delivering my presentation online to all of you wonderful people. So being at home here on the farm, you may hear animal sounds, birds, cattle, other things interrupting my presentation, but that's just how it is in COVID times. And I hope you enjoy our presentation. So, I brought you to a place of provocation, a more intimate spot on the property where contemplation and consideration of big ideas can take place. And here we have a dead fire. We've got ash, we've got charcoal, we've got potential. We could build it again. It's quite like our concert lives at the moment. What are we going to do? We're at a pivot point where we need to really consider how we're going forward. Many people have tried online kinds of concerts and live streaming and editing together of full ensembles and choirs, and that happened for a while, but I don't see many people doing that so much anymore. It doesn't quite carry the weight of an actual concert or presentation. And so we need to find new ways of presenting our music. But this isn't new. This has been going on in my entire career for 50 years. I remember as a young student, Leonard Bernstein being the first conductor to present and talk to the audience on TV with young people's concerts and other lectures, and inspired us later on in our careers to stand up and explain and talk about our music to our audiences and break away the wall, the barrier that existed between us before. I think we're in a similar shift right now, where we need to consider new ways of presenting our music and new ways of reaching our audience that isn't about entertaining them or distracting them or pleasing them with things that they've heard so many times before, unless it really has a purpose in our narrative of offering nonverbal communication about big ideas. In my own world of symphonic wind ensemble music, if I were to produce a concert right now with the fall of Kabul and all that's going on, I'd want people to hear Music for Prague 1968, Karl Huss's masterpiece that was provoked and inspired by Soviet tanks rolling into his city of Prague. Promoting him to the right, the masterpiece of ensemble that doesn't normally get heard because it doesn't have a context in the polite concert world of recitals and concerts. But in this time and age, I think we have the provocation to say, listen to this, feel it. Stop using your head and talking so much. Feel this, listen to this music. In my ideal world right now, if I could produce a concert, I would produce a concert that had no information. The audience would come in and we would play our music. They would be confronted by sound, perhaps that they've never heard before, or something that maybe they had and now is here again, surprising them, coming out and being manifested in a performance. We could then talk about it at intermission. We could then talk about it again with the second half and give them some information about the composer and the time and the music. We can satisfy all those needs, but then I play it again. Audiences don't get to hear music but one time. I don't understand this. Let's play it again. Let them hear the same symphony twice in one evening, and then go home and think about it. So, with that kind of thought in mind, to stimulate your conversation and discussion later on in this presentation, I would now like to shift to my studio, where I will play for you a very provocative piece of music. Welcome to my music studio, with the magic of iPhones and filming. This is where I make music and practice and think thoughts and create such things as this little art object that saw me through COVID lockdown last year, the big Now Wow, helped me rethink my doctoral thesis. So I've brought you in here so I can play for you what I consider a very important piece of music in illustrating what we're talking about here, being engaged and inactive in our music performance and instructive of things that matter. This is a piece that grew out of provocation. A Canadian musician, symphony musician, was provoked by the news of 215 Native American children's graves being discovered at church-run government schools in the past. He was shocked and dismayed, and many of us were. I was. All around the world this news went, and it continued to roll on for some time. It's still going on in Canada. It certainly had reverberations here in Australia for myself, and thinking of the stolen generation, with my own background in North America, growing up there, and Native peoples there, and the power of those cultures. And so when this composer, Scott MacInnes, put this piece for solo instrument, for any instrument, on the internet and said you could download it and play it if you like. This is what I've done. I did. I was a bit skeptical about whether or not it could actually mean anything, but my ambivalence disappeared in reading it the first time. And then subsequent study and practice is just taking me deeper into a reflection of grief and remorse that is a way of thinking and feeling about things that goes well beyond words. And so in our discussion today of the future of music and performance and our idea of big ideas being important, there's no more big idea than our basic reaction to each other and our relationship with each other. And so I'd like to present this piece 215 for your consideration, for your provocation. The number refers not only to the children's graves that were discovered, but the intervals used in the theme, second, first, and fifth scale degree, in a minor tonality. It is a dirge in place, it is also a wail, as an expression of grief that is very much in that spirit of Native America and Aboriginal Australia, I'll say as well, in expressing grief. And you'll hear the sound of the drum, and you'll hear people expressing their feelings. So it's kind of like putting a tail on a snake to try and describe music, and I've already spoken too much about this piece. So allow me to play for you a musical provocation, 215 by Scott MacInnes, and have an opportunity to reflect on something that is deep and important, and that only music can do, which is touch us at a distance with sound. 215 by Scott MacInnes.